Well, we think both is important, but what we focused on both at E3 and then here at Gamescom is really the games. We had a strategy of talking primarily about PS3 at the E3 event a couple of months ago. And this time at Gamescom, we thought it was time to talk about PlayStation Vita, and we were very pleased and very happy with what we had to say about that yesterday. Well, I think you have to start with the games with any PlayStation device, and in the period between now and Christmas, we're going to have 5 great games. We start with Little Big Planet PS Vita, and then we have, as we heard yesterday, FIFA and Need for Speed from Electronic Arts, two huge gaming properties, and then perhaps most excitingly, we've got Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation from Ubisoft, some very interesting possibilities to move between the PS3 version of that game and the PlayStation Vita version of that game. And then finally, but last but obviously not least, Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified, which we were really very excited to show some video footage of last night. We believe very strongly in sort of cross-functionality between PS3 and PS Vita. Will that be complete? Probably not in the short term, because obviously it's up to individual developers and individual publishers how they create their games. For ourselves and our own developers and our own studios, cross-functionality between PS3 and PS Vita is something we believe very strongly in. So, but there are certain games where it simply doesn't make any sense. But where it does make sense, you know, whether it's PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale or Sly Cooper or Ratchet & Clank Q-Force, we're doing this, and we're doing it very aggressively, and it's something that we believe in strongly. Well, I'd answer that by referencing the amount of new software that we're developing for the platform. At E3, we disclosed the Last of Us and Beyond, and also gave the first glimpse of the possibilities that we have with Wonderbook. And the first iteration of that, we saw some more yesterday with Book of Spells, absolutely fantastic game. Based on some original writing by J.K. Rowling, who wrote the Harry Potter series, and you know, it's all around the spells from Harry Potter. We think it's going to be absolutely great at opening up that younger market for PS3. And you know, other games you saw yesterday, Rain and Puppeteer. So there's a whole lot happening on PS3, and I think that gives you a very clear indication that we believe that PS3 has a very long life ahead of it. Well, I think we'll just carry on talking about the games. You know, we believe very strongly that games are what make video game platforms successful. We'll continue to talk about cross-functionality between PS3 and PS Vita. We'll continue to start to build the story and paint the picture on PlayStation Mobile, and you know, you heard a little bit about that at E3. You heard quite a lot more last night, and over the coming months you'll hear yet more still, and you'll start to hear a lot more about the Wonderbook franchise. You know, again at E3 you heard about Book of Spells. Last night you heard about the game that's coming from Moonbot. You heard about the initiative with the BBC on Walking with Dinosaurs, which I think looked pretty cool, and the partnership with Disney was announced. And you know, all of these things you'll see more and more and more coming in coming months. So I think you should stay tuned. It's going to be an interesting time. We think that we think Move has been very important for us, and Move is obviously going to play a big role in the Book of Spells game. And you know, we see, and it's quite a logical thing, and we've done it many times in the past, that as a video game platform gets a little bit older, reaches its mature phase, that we start to go younger. with the targeting. You know, some of it's to do with price and affordability of the hardware, but there obviously has to be the software to support that strategy, and we think things like Wonderbook are absolutely perfect to help us do that. The strategy, I think, is a good one. I think it's a solid one, where we have the PlayStation mobile initiative, which will allow these smaller bite-sized games, but which are of you know, a proper PlayStation quality, which will the hardware devices will emulate our very famous iconic PlayStation gaming interface. We will have quite soon we'll have PlayStation Network functionality in these games, and so they'll be available across a whole range of devices, and those devices include PlayStation Vita, so Vita owners can, who obviously have a portable device, will be able to access them. But equally, Vita will continue to exist in its own right as you know, we call it the ultimate portable gaming device, with, you know, this fantastic range of interfaces, the great screen, and the great games, most importantly. And you know, games like Call of Duty, like Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation, simply not possible on a phone. So, you know, you've got something for everybody, for the avid, enthusiastic gamer, or the consumer who's just more interested in you know, smaller, lighter games, but wants a certain quality threshold, which we will guarantee with PlayStation Mobile. Yeah, and these are obviously difficult times, and particularly in Southern Europe, and you know, the economies are especially challenged in Iberia, very high levels of unemployment and economy contracting. So we clearly feel a sense of responsibility to make sure that our value propositions are as sharp and as good as they can be, so that gaming becomes or continues to be an affordable pastime. And you know, in an environment like this, an initiative like our Essentials range, where we're going to have some of PlayStation's you know, PlayStation 3's very best games will be available at a price below €20. We think that's very important, that and something that will appeal to our consumers, when every euro is something that needs to be very carefully thought about.